I'm tired of hearing how good McLean is. Can't get out of the fifth inning. He gets the first two guys out, gives up a hit, and it takes him 10, 12 more pitches to get out of the inning. Uh, Tired of hearing it already. I'll be back.
Vinny is a man, always doing what he can, growing up tough. He knows how to be rough.
Yeah, knows how to be rough. That's some statement. How you doing, everybody? So we cut it to 3-2, but I have to tell you, Reed Detmers, the next coming of Ted Lilly, that's who is giving us a hard time tonight. Pitch out. The Mets have negative stolen bases this year. I think they're like -2. You're smiling. Yeah, I'd be smiling too, Semyon. 100 million in the bank, 20 million. It is nonsense, or maybe more. What a shit show. What a shit show. Outfield of Slater, Ibanez, and Taylor. That's your outfield, $370 million team. They're all laughing. Hilarious. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And also, I want to know this too. Why is Mauricio ever getting up right-handed again? He should never bat righty again. Yeah, another one. Challenge. Watch this. Sick of here. It's like, you see this at the plate? Getting ridiculous already. Don't know. All of a sudden he could throw. The ball used to be in center field every time he threw a ball with the Mets. That was a tough pitch to handle. It's actually a good throw. But this is ridiculous. We pick up a guy from the scrap heap. The A's released him. Now the A's are big shots now because they're like 500. And that is going to be in there, and the Mets are going to tie the game. Look at this. Okay. Yeah. All of this. Tyrone Taylor. If I played in the lineup, I'd have a 20% less slugger percentage than he does. I'm just talking to Lee. Yeah, look, they're showing a little grit, at least. You know, when you show grit when you're not a great team. Hey, Dementia Joe. I'm feeling better. Hey, Mitch. It's just, Joe, it's just, seeing this, 80 games under 500. It's not even May 3rd, and you're doing this into the dugout. That's a base. No? Is that a base hit? Oh, what a play. And you know what? Something I noticed also, Semyon, every ground ball that he dives for, he doesn't come up with, if you notice. If you look at last year, the year before, he comes up with a lot of those balls. He hasn't made one diving play this year. He's just a split late for it. That's the age. And I'll tell you something. From 34 to 35, it's like a year and a half or 2 years. You know, when you're 23 to 30, you're not aging, and he's up righty again. This should be a shit show. Watch this. It was so bad that he fell, and they were laughing in the Angel dugout. They went to it and then took it away. He can't make contact as a righty. I don't know why why is he playing? Put Bichette at shortstop. Oh my God, this is against a lefty. I know he's tough to hit, this guy, but Chase Detmers. He's got 8 strikeouts. Well, it'll be 9 in about 11 seconds. What's the pitch clock? 15? Give it 13 seconds. Looks back. Is the pitch. Oh, Mauricio swung on that. the last time he was up. He fell. He did face first on the floor. Hey, Lee, it looked like he was stealing home. That's how flat he was. Yeah, Alvarez is a terrible defensive catcher. He went backwards. He had gotten better. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, and he's going to beat him. Oh, come on. He didn't get him, did he? They just can't get a break. What's he looking at? What a play. Oh, maybe. Well, is he hurt? Oh, hopefully he's hurt so he doesn't have to get up anymore. Are they going to, what? Are they going to look at it? Yeah, the challenge review. I couldn't tell. It was a good play by the first baseman. He flipped the ball into his glove, and I'll give it to you in a second. He's safe. He's safe. Bases are going to be loaded. So it's by a fraction, but I think he is safe. Yeah, he's safe. Because he doesn't have to, he just has to touch the bag. I think he's safe. But the way it's gone, look, he probably jammed his finger. They're working on his finger. They're taking a glove off, taking his cleat off. Hell out of here already. This is ridiculous. So I think he's safe. He's smiling. That's a good sign. Yeah, he's safe. Oh, it's close. Yeah, I think he's safe. Because that glove was still moving on toward first. Yeah, he's safe. Bases loaded. This could be it. This could be it here. This would be a nice win because we're not used to these wins. We're not used to these comebacks. Look at this. Even this sounds like a goddamn casket. That sounds like a crypt. I have to fix this chair. That's the ex-catcher, right, for the Dodgers? Reed Detmers pitched a good game. But look who he's pitching against. Not exactly murderer's row here. But so I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, Lee, I saw that. I remember when he played for Detroit. He played for Detroit. Lifetime, he has like a 735 or something OPS against lefties. That's why they picked him up. And they picked him up because he's cheap and because they have another excuse if he goes off for 4. But look, this is I have to tell you something. Every time I look at that Citi Field behind me on the screensaver, I just get sick. It's incredible how they could have me sick May 2nd already. Kentucky Derby Day. And I'm miserable. And it's not only because of the loss, which I ended up losing the Derby today. I hit a good one before the Derby. A couple of races before, but 4 races before. I hit a really good one. They put these depressing commercials on too. Need a kidney or something. Be a hero. Be an organ donor. Kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? When you see a commercial like that, we're worried about if Mauricio's safe. Kind of ridiculous. But, everything in its context. But I figured I'd come on to suffer with you guys. It was 3-1. Yeah, Lee, that was unbelievable. I didn't have one horse in the money there, but I had a good winner in I forget what race it was. He's looking up to the sky. You know what he's saying? This is the Mets. I thought I had a shot on my only no-hitter. I remember when the Mets were terrible. Not this year. And Scherzer pitched against them, and he got really angry at himself when he gave up a hit in the 8th inning because he was going for the no-hitter. Oh. Who is this, Bichette? Bichette's turning it around. Renegade, that was it. Was that it? Renegade? Yeah, I had a good bet on that. I told you that. I told you Renegade, the horse in the last race from the one post. since 1986, a horse hasn't won the Derby from the one post. Very tough to overcome it. Came in second. And of course, look at this. You can't get the ball out of it. That was a good play by Taylor, though. That's why he's laughing. That would have been a double play. Look at him. Taylor took the catcher out. Nice play by the third baseman. Watch this slide. This is a terrific slide. Watch this. He made sure. That was a good. I'm surprised that wasn't interference. That was a great play now. Because if the Mets end up scoring this inning, that was a heads-up play by Taylor. I'll give him that. You got the bases loaded. And you got your $800 million man up. This is when you're supposed to drive the ball. And a little ground ball foul. He's had a tough time tonight, Soto. That was a great slide by Taylor. That was a good play. If he doesn't slide like that, that's a double play. Because Bichette's a quarter of a second faster than me down first base. And I'm 35 years older. Juan Soto, 1 for 3. He always gets his hit a night, Soto. Even if it's a dunker in center field, because they have to play him so deep. If he bloops the ball, he has a hit. Look, he's going against the righty here. At least get a good swing on the ball. At the very least, hit the ball hard. That's all you can ask. Oh, 1. He's just missing pitches. You see his head? He was pissed at that. He missed that pitch, so. Yeah, Soto he's been a step behind tonight. Bachman's pitching. Isn't that great? Sam Bachman. I don't even think he has career stats. Yeah, 3.5 ERA, 1.3 whip. Not bad. 15 innings pitched. He's not bad. Better than any. He'd be a star for the Mets. This guy would be the closer. Wait, strike 3. And I'm sorry, this is on Bichette. Bases loaded, 1 out. You have to get the run in. I know Soto looked terrible in that at bat against the righty. Very rarely do you see Soto look that bad against the righty. Terrible. Really terrible. Well, we have new life, but we should be up. Should have got a run in there. Gets very frustrating. You got Soto up with the bases loaded against a journeyman righty. I know it's 2 out, but at least don't strike out. Hit the ball 100 miles an hour so I could say, Joe, look, isn't it sad? I thought this game was over when it was 3-1. I really did. And I have to tell you, I'm not ready to label this McLean an ace yet. McLean, honestly, I know this sounds odd. He has an ERA a tick under 3 after tonight. He disappoints me. You know what? I don't give a shit how many guys you strike out through 1 through 4. When you get to the 5th inning and the 6th inning and you can't get me through, that's a big problem. And if you notice, more times than not, McLean will get the first 2 hitters, walk a guy, single, another 13 pitches. That's why he's out of the game. Now, this Angel lineup isn't terrible, but this Angel lineup, I think, is in the top 3 swing and miss. This team's constant swing and misses, and I'll give you another team that's a swing and miss team. I think it's Minnesota. No, Joe, I don't. I should, but I don't, because I'm afraid that I'd take the pen and do a Godfather 3 Lucchese bit right through the neck. Clay Holmes tomorrow, 1.75 ERA. Cock and know it. Yeah, they'll make him look like fucking Sandy Koufax tomorrow, this guy. The Mets are always terrible on Sundays. Meanwhile, Myers hasn't been sharp, but he's done the job. Watch this. Oh my God. He's happy for a guy hitting 210. I'll tell you. And Taylor's laughing. Taylor's supposed to take charge on that. But that's the problem. Taylor's not one of your great veterans, and Simeon calls the shots. If that's a real true center fielder, a starter, an everyday player, you're calling Simeon off for that. I know he's a Gold Glover, but still, it's a much easier play. And if that drops, that guy's on second. There's base hit. Is that Trout? He's swinging better tonight. He didn't look good last night. All right. Marty's just throwing, 30 pitches? It's a nice swing. Look at that swing. And he's 10 years past his prime. If I'm the Mets, I call Philly. I'll give you Lindor. Give us Harper. I know the front office isn't in love with Harper anymore. They called him out. That's a good pitch. But I'll tell you, this is very sad to have to go through this. The Angels have the same record as the Mets. And if I keep on saying, what are you doing? The Angels stink. That means the Mets stink. Actually, it means Angels are better than the Mets. I used to score the games. I used to love it. Call that on strikes. You put a backwards K. And you put a regular K if it's swing and miss. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, McLean, I don't know what it is with him. I guess he's just a guy that's pitched, 13 games, 14 games, 15 in the major leagues. He's got to learn. I noticed the stat that they had put up there. He, come the fifth or sixth inning, he had really started to use his changeups and his curveballs more. He was throwing like 55 or 60% fastballs. He went down to 40% mid-game. I don't know why. Maybe he was trying to pitch to more contact. Don't know. But it's not working. Throw your fastball. They couldn't hit it innings 1 through 4. You got a good shot through 5 and 6. They're not going to hit it either. Here's a big pitch. So, I did a special earlier. I won't test you. I only found that out through, I think, Keith Hernandez. I heard him saying it once. But yeah, I have to tell you. And I used to put a little dot in the box for a swing and miss, even if it's not a strikeout, to see how many swing and misses the guy got, the pitcher. Good pitcher gets 8 to 10 a game. Good changeup. Good idea. He rolls that over. If he tries to hit that ball, it's a double play. Trout used to run really well. He's having a good year this year. 95, 96. Good pitch. So I did a special earlier on the greatest Met ball players. First, the best seasons individually at a position, then the all-time 25 great Mets. I left a lot of guys off. Rusty Staub, Carlos Delgado. There were plenty of guys that had great years. But you couldn't put everybody in there. Kevin McReynolds was a good ball player. He didn't play long enough for the Mets. Good pitch. Everything's an adventure. There's 0.5 the wind is blowing, and he's backing up all over the place, Simeon. I'm getting on Simeon. I know I really shouldn't. If this was Minaya, it would have been 3 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts. It used to be relaxing. When I was younger, Joe, I bought a scorebook from Herman Sporting Goods. It was like a softball scorebook, you know? And I scored the Met games. That was my life. It was fun, though. I refer back to them, and Keith does it with colored markers. It looks like a fucking Degas painting, Keith's. You could put it in a frame. If I just took a little handful of paint and went like this and you put it in a frame, you would think it was $1 million picture. Keith is funny. I miss Keith. He does. Keith Hernandez notes. Keith Hernandez used to have a book, a notebook on every pitcher in baseball. Or was it Rusty Staub? One of them. And when they retired, they gave it to one of the younger players, his favorite young player. They had notes on every. Remember, Rusty used to look in the notebook. Notes on every pitcher, what he does behind the count. Usually, it's the first pitch he throws you. If he's ahead, 2-1, 3-2. That's what you want to know. You would think they would have learned a few years ago when McNeil won the batting title. They came after him with first pitch fastballs, and he hit like 490 against them. Wouldn't you think in this day and age they'd say, by the way, throw him a changeup is the first pitch, because he actually hit home runs off the first pitch too. Brazaban's been good, 1.28 ERA. You know what's interesting? He's 0 for 2 in saves. Every time Brazaban is in, it seems like a run is scoring, but he never gets charged with it. Like Brazaban would give up a double now, right? Then a strikeout, give up the run that wasn't charged to him, and you look at him, he pitched an inning with no runs. He's been terrific. He's been terrific. His problem is control. When he can get ahead, he's really good because he's got that great slider. When he falls behind 2-0, he's got to straighten it out for a strike, and that's when they're sitting on it. Yelly. This guy would get an outside slider right now. There it is. And now I come up and in with a fastball. You slowed his bat speed up. Up and in fastball. And we tried to pitch again. I would have gone after with the fastball. But yeah, he's really been good. This is a guy you could trade at the trade deadline if he continues to pitch well. Good pitch. Good job. I have to tell you, you will get a lot for him at the trade deadline. But his ERA will be 7 by the trade deadline. Change speeds and change eye level, Joe. That's even as important. Where, they're setting the batter's box. Get them off the plate where they got to reset their feet. Then the eye level low, then high, then low. Because your eyes get adjusted if you're coming into the same quadrant. If you move it around and make the feet move and the eyes move, it's very effective. Oh, absolutely, because you run out of gas eventually. You never run out of an 80-mile-an-hour changeup. The only problem with an 80-mile-an-hour changeup is when you used to throw 92, it was effective. When you throw an 87, now it's not as effective. So you have to learn to throw that changeup 75, and it's very hard. Johan Santana was great. Santana, I didn't put him as one of the greatest Mets because he wasn't. He had a couple of good years, but I'll give you a guy that came to the Mets, should have won the Cy Young Award his first year, Pedro Martinez. They blew about eight leads that he had. Martinez should have won like 22 games his first year I think he won 15 or 16. Pedro had a great year his first year with the Mets. He got beat for the Cy Young Award. Let's look. His first year with the Mets. Had a great year. First year with the Mets, he was 15-8, 2.82, 217 innings, 159 hits, 208 strikeouts. He had a whip of 0.94. He was an all-star. He should have won the Cy Young that year. He was coming off a 16-9, 3.9 ERA. So he pitched 31 games. Then he was 9-8. He was terrible. But he had an 8 WAR with Boston. He had an 11.7 WAR in 2000 with Boston. With the Mets, he had a 7 WAR in 2005. But Pedro was amazing. Pedro's average WAR was 6.6 a game, a season. That's tremendous for a pitcher. Yeah, the Angels bullpen hasn't been very good. Oh, he was great. Santana was great too until he hurt his arm. See, nowadays you can come back from an elbow injury. In fact, you come back throwing harder. Once you have a shoulder injury, very hard to come back from a shoulder injury. Shoulder, not the same as an elbow. Unreal. Yeah, but Johan Santana, boy, if the Mets still wouldn't have a no-hitter if there was review back then. That ball was fouled by 3 feet. A fair by like 2 feet. 3 feet. I remember I was on my way to Atlantic City when he threw that no-hitter. What are they swinging at? See, the Angels shouldn't have 11 or 12 strikeouts against you. They really shouldn't. Top of the 8th. I have to tell you, Devin Williams looked like the Devin Williams of old the last time out. It was best he looked as a Met. We'll see what we can do here. This pitcher, Sam Bachman. You know, Vientos is hitting 237. I would have thought he was hitting like 190 because he had that hot streak. Another strikeout. And he's walking up the mound. A bad team. Like he's walking up the mound. He didn't know how many outs there was either, the pitcher. But this is unbelievable. Angel pitchers tonight have 11 strikeouts. They haven't walked anyone. You wouldn't believe it. The Mets have 9 hits in this game. You wouldn't think so, right? Myers now is an ERA of 2.05. McLean goes up to 2.98. McLean has let a lot of runners on. That's good. And a weak ground ball to third. And that's your top of the 8th. Unreal. So I hope you're all doing well. Who was older at that point? Santana? Yeah, Johan was good. He was great with Minnesota. When he's with Minnesota, he'd throw a complete game like 90 pitches. When the Mets got him, he was, he's not quite as good. When the Mets got him, he was 30. I think he just turned 30. Let's see. Yeah, he was 30. 29. 234 innings, 2.84 ERA. Third in the Cy Young Award voting. Had a good year with the Mets. He had what was his WAR? A 7 WAR. It's pretty good. Then he got hurt. Pitched 166 innings. Never pitched 200 innings for the Mets again. He started like 25 games, 20. He became a 5-inning pitcher, 4.5 ERA at that point. Yeah, he had lost it. His arm never came back. He had a lifetime 3.43 ERA. Looking for the ERA here. I don't see it. Lifetime WAR of 5. It's pretty good. Yeah, Santana was good. I remember his debut. It was 2000. I forget who we played. They were all talking about this top guy. Yeah, he had some change. He really did have a good change. We'll see. Let me get comfortable. Pull up a chair with you guys. Boston Celtics got beat. You see that? They were down like 15, 18. They cut it to 1, and they cut it twice. They just couldn't get there. Philly beat them. Well, Embiid was back, and Boston was missing their star. They got blown out 3 games. Good pitch. Who's going to take it? Someone. Maybe I'm just too hard on the Mets. I'm always disgusted. Call for it. This guy should. Maybe I'm just so disgusted. Maybe if the Mets were 20-10, I wouldn't be, on a pop up. I'd probably say, Beatty, take. Yeah, that's it, Beatty. Instead of, get out of his way. Hi, Papani and Filibi. I was going to surprise you guys. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Knicks will beat Philly. I think they'll beat them in probably 6. Hey, Kimbrel, yeah, well, I don't know how Kimbrel's still on this roster. A lot of the moves Stearns makes, I just don't understand. It just always looks like an adventure. Every goddamn ball the Mets catch looks like an adventure. Am I just being too hard on them? Can you imagine? Thank God we have Brazoban. That's what we have to say now. Vaughn Grissom. He was supposed to be. I think he was with Atlanta. He was supposed to take over for Swanson. Grissom, pretty good. He's a big guy for a shortstop. Here's Bichette. Very nice. Anxiety attack, Lee. Very nice. I like the hairdo too. The hair looks good too. Anybody watching this commercial? Amazon help. The guys look at that. It looks like you know what it looks like? Like a movie that he touched something. First of all, if you look like that, why are you laying next to your kids? If you were all broken out, and rash and hives and everything, would you be looking at your kids sleeping like that, or would you be 9 rooms away? I used to have a crush on Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner got her first deal. She told an agent she was James Garner's niece. She lied to them. Liberty Mutual, Liberty Bibbity. Look at my life Saturday night. I'm quoting stupid commercials. I remember when Don Imus got fired from ABC saying Colonel Sanders kicked the bucket today at age whatever. He got fired for that. Can you imagine? Oh, I tell you. I'm spent already. It's May 3rd. God damn, it's not even 6 weeks the season's on, and I'm already like ready for the loony bin. And I had papers to prove I'm fucking nuts. They could just restamp them. Like, oh, your passport gets stamped. Come back in 5 years so we could officially say you're still crazy. HELOC hero. Yeah, take a HELOC. That sounds like they're pushing it at a bank. It must be a good deal for you, right? Like I tell my friends at the crap table, if they're telling you you want a hot 11, you want a hot 11. You want a hot on, you want whatever you want, right? If they're asking you to take it, it's not good for you. Well, what do you think? The kid, give him a break. We got to lose some money tonight. They do need tough love, William. Who's this? Benj? 181. And for 2 weeks, I'm counting how good he is. Well, because at least he's not swinging at pitches that are 3 bounces to the plate. Mauricio should never, ever bat righty again. I would just tell him, I like him better facing a lefty, because I just don't think he can hit righty. There's been Major League Ball players who stopped switch hitting. See, Mauricio swings at that. Soto looks terrible tonight. Soto struck out on a high fastball inside, under his chin. Soto just doesn't look good tonight. That was a ball. Who's in the bullpen? And there he is, Craig Kimbrell. Now, they will really get beat up if Kimbrell blows it, because they're going to say, you got 2 guys in the minor leagues throwing 100 miles an hour. Why is Kimbrell pitching? I do think he's going to be good, though, Benj. Strike 3. Unbelievable. 12 strikeouts for Angel. This is a good cold and blustery, yeah. That looked low too. Is this guy any good, this reliever? He has good stuff. It does look a little windy there. I wonder if this is their closer. Zaverijan. I can't even pronounce his name. Let's see what his career looks like. 5.29 ERA. He looks like Kimbrel 15 years ago. Look at players that the Mets had. Melendez, Taylor, Slater had a hit today. That was a good at bat, actually. Banez. This is the lineup. The Mets must not be seeing the ball well tonight because they just look so bad on some of these check swings. I don't know if it's the lights. You know what? Tonight they're tired. You know, the first night that you get in to California, it's the second night you're tired. I just realized that this is the second night in here. They're probably tired. I told you, Darno is going to be up second. I could write it now. See them throwing the Gatorade over him, and Mendoza just taking the clipboard, shaking his head, and walking. So anyway, I was thinking about some of the really good players that I might have left off that list. Delgado was one of them, but Olerud had a better year than he did. Yeah, William, this is scary. It's scary because Darno is up. When he was with Atlanta, he was killing the Mets. That always happens too. It's kind of like you really gear up for the team that let you go, so you hit a home run. Well, why don't you just make believe and hit a home run for the team that let you go? Make believe it counts, right? I have to trade you so you want to play hard? Think about it. I trade you and you go like Jeff McNeil was 6 for 12 against the Mets. You know what? If you would have done that, you'd still be on this team. If you can't get up without having to get payback, you shouldn't be on a team. Joe, it gets harder and harder. It truly does, my friend. It really does. And that first run shouldn't have counted. If you're watching it, watch the tag. He didn't hit the plate yet. On that, he did not hit the plate yet. That shouldn't have been a run. It's hard to believe. You look out there and everyone looks normal. But you take the population of California, 5.06 ERA, 11.81 strikeouts per 9 innings. So he still gets strikeouts. You know, Devin Williams has like a 17 per 9 strikeout rate. Devin Williams either strikes you out or you win the game against him. The tarantula. Watch this. This is nonsense. What's he throwing? 94? I didn't even know he could throw 94. That's actually pretty impressive. The thing is, he can't throw 94 over the plate. It doesn't move like it used to his fastball. He's got to put it outside or inside. If he makes a mistake, you hit it. And ball two. That didn't take long. Now you got to come in with a fastball. They have a pinch hitter on deck for Darno, I think. 93. How is he throwing 93? He's like 67 years old. And Mania, I don't believe the bone chips aren't bad. And that has to be hurting Mania. You don't go from 95 miles an hour to 88 unless there's something wrong. Good pitch. Bichette moved the shortstop. Did they move Mauricio to third? Now, if you've watched this game, you'll agree with me. Bichette actually looks pretty good at third base. And that's a nice play. Ooh, that was close. You know what? That was a nice play by Vientos. His footwork is terrible, but challenging. Oh, yeah. It looked close. Call in the field stands. Angels lose the timeout. That's what I want to see. It looked like he stayed on, right? Let me see. Oh, they can't overturn that. You can't overturn that. Call confirmed. That was too. It's worth it. It's worth it. Because you probably win the game if you have a runner on first against this Met bullpen. I'm not so sure Beatty makes that play. Okay, former Yankee. This would be good to really nail us with no Vaz. Very subtly, Don Mattingly with the Phillies is going to now be screwing us for years, a former Yankee. Mattingly's a terrible manager. Evidently, Cora doesn't want to manage yet because Philly would have grabbed him. He probably said I think he did say he wants to spend time with his family. Cora won't manage till next year because you'll have other managers getting laid off this year. And he'll have a choice. I think Dave Roberts may retire in LA. I think if he wins the World Series, he'll retire. And Cora will go to LA. I'd manage LA. Hold on. I'll be right back, people. Did I call it? A Yankee. He's jumping. What is he? You got to be kidding me. What the fuck was that? What was that? It wasn't a knuckleball because it was 130 miles an hour the ball was hit. Run prevention, baby, right? Our hero Stearns. He must have lost that in the lights or something. But you see, he just made a nice play. Vientos is a terrible fielder. Pete Alonso was like you're in the elevator with your girlfriend. You lose 5,000 playing craps. She loses 300 in the slot machines. What are you doing? Well, I know how to gamble. At least Alonso knew how to play first, even though he was terrible at it. He knew how to play it. He wasn't smooth, but he was great picking the ball. He saved the Mets a lot of errors with that. Yeah, Stearns needs to go. I don't think he wants the ball hit to him. I think a lot of it's that. He dreads the ball being. He's made the plays around first, but he's not smooth at all. That was a good pitch. Now imagine that pitch when he was throwing 99. And Mike Trout's on deck. Mike Trout. Oh my God. Oh, ponytail, yuppie look, great. Oh, good pitch. Now you walk Trout. If Trout gets in the batter's box, I go, where the fuck are you going? Get the first. That was a good pitch. And the Trout's going to be walked, isn't he? Yeah, he got walked. Now I bring Devin Williams in now. Just for a new look. Hello, Seth. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. I wanted to talk to you, actually. Could you email me? And I'll give you my phone number. I wanted to enlist your services to make me a couple of thumbnails because you're great at it. There's my email, if you don't mind, Seth. I'll give you my phone number. You should have it anyway. And I wanted to know if you could make me a couple of, because yours are beautiful. I hope you're feeling better, brother. My friend Ira has that, what is it? RSV virus, RSVP, whatever they call it. He was in the hospital for a couple of days. He's home now. He's probably sleeping. But Ira, just in case you catch us on the replay, hope you're feeling better, buddy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Just that virus is rough. Yeah, I don't get this, Joe. I never once stood at first base and went like this before the ball came. Like, what is he doing? He couldn't have a cramp because he doesn't play hard enough to have a cramp. Yeah, this is going to be rough. This will be rough. This isn't going to be an easy game to win. Well, none of them are easy game to win. Can I tell you something? If me, Lee, Willie, Seth, Joe, and I picked 3 women that are in a nursing home and we played the Mets, we'd lose 3-2 in 10. And that would only be because one of the old broads fucking let the ball go through her legs. Fucking wheelchair wouldn't get there fast enough. See, even look at how mad he is. Like, I can't believe I couldn't hit off this piece of shit. Even that guy was so mad. Like, how do I not get a hit off Kimbrel? Like, I'd be pissed if I'm Trout and I couldn't hit off Kimbrel. I'd put my retirement papers in tomorrow. All they have been throwing the Mets are curveballs and off-speed pitches. And all the Mets have been doing is taking them. They're not throwing the Mets any fastballs, if you notice. All off-speed. Melendez is on second. If you could read an off-speed pitch, it would be really to steal third base. That's a swing. They haven't thrown any fastballs. You know what? Sit on the changeup. It doesn't matter if you get blown away with the fastball because you're not going to hit it anyway. Mets are going to strike out 14 times in this game. Oh, catcher's interference. He hit the glove. Oh, that's why it looks so silly. Look at that. He hit the glove. Okay. That's what you have to root for. Good. Beatty's up. He's good at that. He has 3 in the last 2 years. What? Game-winning hits? No. Catcher's interference. That's what we're rooting for. Sethala. I hope you're feeling well. Did you have chicken soup? This won't be overturned because Beatty just went right to the. He said, "Look, it must have hit it." Usually you hear it, but Beatty right away thought the catcher hit him. Yeah. Look at Beatty's reaction right away. He looked back at the ump and said he hit it. Oh, of course he did. Now, generally speaking, Seth, you would almost sacrifice them and a hit would win the game. Hopefully, you'd put 2 in, but you can't give up any outs with the Mets. And you can't hit the ball to the right side because they'll turn 2. And Bichette's up. Okay, I'll take him. Even though he hasn't had a good night, I'd rather him up. He's got 15 RBIs. And hasn't even played well yet. Come on. What are you swinging at? They're so undisciplined. And this, I would walk Soto if I were them. And this is terrible. I wouldn't let Soto beat me. That's a great pitch at 0-2. Alvarez strikes out on that 7 out of 10 times. I can't imagine them pitching to Soto. Whatever it is, double play. It's incredible. It's now you walk Soto. How disgusting is that? And that's not Mendoza's fault. You're behind in the count because you're swinging a ball at your eyes, so now you have to protect the plate, and you didn't have a great pitch, but you had to hit it. Of course you're going to walk Soto. Soto's going to walk 1,100 times this year. I would say he would lead the league in runs scored, but he'll score 4 of those times. Oh, God. There's that outside pitch. I would just throw him 4 of those. If you walk him, you walk him. Because you can't group, you throw a good fastball to him, he could park it. He's always up there looking for fastballs. See, this is already a good at-bat for him. Soto is earning his money. They had to put him on. Bichette's been hitting into a lot of double plays. Oh. Oh, this is going to be a screamer tonight. I feel it. I feel it. All of them ground balls. And he hits the ball hard, though. But right at somebody. That second strike was the killer. You're instead of 1-1, you have to anything close. You have to swing at. It wasn't a good pitch, and he grounded at the third. If you're ahead of the count, or even big difference, you could lay off that pitch. It was breaking inside. Oh, yeah, I would challenge that. Oh, Soto stole. You'll see the press conference out 6 weeks with pulled quad. I think that might have been. Oh, it was outside by the proverbial sea hair. 3-1. I thought they didn't have any challenges left. That's it too. It seems like every team has 11 challenges, and the Mets have 2. Pop up. Well, so that'll be that. They don't have a shot in the world now. Oh my God. So terrible. Really is terrible now. It's just so disheartening. So, hey, Mary, how are you? Mary Devlin. You sound like you should be in Blue Buds with that name. You love my channel. I love you for saying that. Thank you so much. I'm trying, Mary. I really am. And I do a lot of other things on here, movies and music. I have a cool, if you like The Sopranos, my friend Rob Finaro, who played Eugene in The Sopranos. I have an interview with him. I was a bouncer in the 80s. Jeff Green was the head of all bouncers pretty much in the city. A couple of good interviews. You'll hear the stories. I played ball with Al Pacino. All the stars would come in there. He'll tell you some good stories. Go to my interview with Jeff Green, both of them, on the channel. You'll really enjoy them. Some real funny stories about Diana Ross and stuff. I like ABS. Yeah, I do. I like it because it's not taking up much time. I think eventually they will give you 3 challenges, because as long as it takes 5 seconds, it's going to be like the Pine Tar incident, though. One day it's going to be for the win, and the umpire kind of like moved his head, and the batter went like this, and he didn't see it, and the 5 seconds are up, and they're going to say it's too late. He's going to say, "What do you mean it's too late? I did this, and they didn't see it." And they're going to have to go to the video replay to see if he hit his head so they can challenge it. It'll be a shit show. Catchers should be the best at challenges. You would think a catcher would be the best. That's why they're the best pitching coaches, catchers. This is your closer, Austin Warren. But my God, you can't make this up. You just can't make it up. Really doesn't matter if you put the runner on first. It's almost better. You know what you do? What you do in this case is you don't throw him a strike, and you hope he gets himself out. And that's exactly what they're doing. If he misses here, we'll probably put him on. Nothing in the strike zone here. And he threw it right over the plate. So that's how much I know, people. You're not supposed to put that ball over the plate, because it looks like they were unintentionally walking him to set up for the double play. All right. Now you got to go after him, 2-2. Mary, where are you from? You don't have to tell me, Mary, but I'm just curious. Okay. Let's see, baby. Good idea. 3-2. See, the reason why I don't like that outside pitch, because if he just taps it to the right side, the runner automatically moves over. You're just afraid of him getting a hold of one. If he pulls it to third, he's not moving or short. But you just don't want to groove one where you could turn on it, because a base hit, you lose the game. And that was the walk. That run doesn't hurt you. You can set up the force at third. Joe Adell. 382 at runners in scoring position. The Mets don't have 13. The Mets don't have 13 hits in 6 games. Never mind runners in scoring position. Look at this guy. Looks like he's going to hit 900 feet. Everybody gets the Mets is like this. Come on. I need some RBIs. Poor Warren. He's thrown into this. Warren should be the number 7 starter in Syracuse. See, this is the danger now. I would have put Devin Williams in. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Oh, you're in Cali? Okay. I'm from Brooklyn originally, Bensonhurst. I'm in Queens now. Brooklyn's changed. You walk through Brooklyn now, you can go to Disney World. It looks like Euro Disney. You walk through Epcot. That's Brooklyn. That's a good pitch. Come on. And another ball that he didn't get to. Held him. See, he never gets to the ball. Another ball that a year or two ago he would have got to. His defensive rating, I think, is even this year. For a guy that won the Gold Glove last year, I don't know what they were looking at last year. He's slow. Oh, what I was talking about was when you're 33 or 34, every 6 months is like 2 years. Look, well, that was basic, but you slow down. It's kind of like when you're 75, every year is like 2 or 2.5. Your body wears down. You age that way. When you're 35, your speed starts going when you're 30, 31. Bases loaded, no out. What do you think the odds that they win? You can't trust Devin Williams because now you can't trust him because he's a walk machine. This is going to be rough. You got to come home with it. And that screws you too. He's a lefty. Good pitch. You want the guy to pull it to the right, to the left side, so you can come home with it. Harder to come home from the right side. Remember Bob Murphy? The squeeze! Fucking idiot he was. I haven't heard the squeeze in 35 years. Yeah, Joe. Yeah. He looked great yesterday. He looked like his old self yesterday, but I don't trust him with runners on yet. But if you needed 3 strikeouts, that's the guy. Well, we'll see. There's no one else you could have brought in. Weaver, his ball's too well. Weaver has a control issue too. And Warren throws strikes. He's wild in the strike zone, but they'll swing. Yeah, that's the game. Oh, wait. Oh, it's not. Terrible throw, but it's not. See, I think you have to try to score there. You play to your audience. You know nothing's going right for the Mets. It's that kind of year for them. Nothing's gone right for them, and you try to score. I guess the only reason they didn't, there was no out. If there was one out, they would have tried. Defense, baby. But he wouldn't have been thrown out at home. That throw wouldn't have got him. Oh man, look at this. Oh no. Here, watch him try to score now. Well, you know what's going to happen here if you get two out. Yeah, Joe, you know what? Line drive, base hit. This is some pitching. This Warren. I think Warren's the closer now, to be honest with you. He got out of a bases loaded jam last week with no out. I think the Mets will lose him by 9, but still. Oh, man. Oswald Peraza? The good thing about Warren is he's wild in the strike zone. It's close enough. I thought that was a hit. He missed that pitch. He knows it. That was the pitch. If you're Trout, that ball is bouncing in my backyard now. Good pitch. It's hard to come off the bench. You know why it's hard to come off the bench? Remember in high school, I was facing guys who were throwing 88, 87. You haven't seen spin all night. It's like adjusting to sunlight when you walk outside. You have to adjust the spin. You have to adjust the spin. You haven't seen spin all night. So you can't recognize anything for at least one at bat. That's why usually pitches are so great the first 3 innings, even if you only throw 90. It's because no one's seen your spin. Second time through the order, third time through the order, they know what you have. I have to stand for this. I'm sorry. I'm not flashing you. This guy, 90-mile-an-hour fastball is over the middle of the plate. You can't hit it. Oh, that was 95? I didn't know he threw that hard. Well, you can see why this guy's on the bench. 3 pitches right over the heart of the plate, and he fouled each one back. Now I give him a changeup now. There it is. And there it is. That's it. Unbelievable. You can't fault him. You can't fault him. Unreal. Yes, wild in the strike zone, Joe, is important. So the Mets lose. Game over. And if they win tomorrow, they won the series against a team that is going to lose 98 games this year. Great. And the thing that we are assured of is Mendy's going to be up. If we lose another 8, he's going to be our manager. You're right, Joe. We were. This is terrible. Yeah, Joe. We were. So the Mets lose. Warren shaking his head. He had him set up for the breaking ball. I don't blame him for throwing that. I don't. It had too much of the plate, and he went down and got it. But it's just putrid. It's just putrid. And we have to go through this day in and day out. We win a game, and you just hope that you're wrong one day and they win a second game. But this is very disheartening. A loss like this is because you have to win with McLean and Peralta on the mound. You have to. They almost did, Guy. How are you, man? They have to win with Peralta and McLean on the mound because Holmes is going to go back to the mean. Holmes is going to have a 3.5 ERA at the end of the year. But Peralta and McLean were the guys that were supposed to stop losing streaks. That's how bad they were. That you had Peralta and McLean twice in that losing streak, gave up 2 runs, and they still lost. Now, I will tell you this much. This is worse than 93. Yeah. Well, Soto looked terrible tonight. You can't lose these games. These are the teams that lose these games. That's why they lose 90. You're supposed to win these games. Especially with Bichette and Soto. I don't care how bad Bichette's been. He still has 15 RBIs in 30 games. With no one on. And the first 6 games of the year, he led the league in runners on. Bichette should have 25 RBIs right now. Joe, I think this is worse. I'll tell you why. Because when you're expected to win and you're 500, you're really disappointing. When you're expected to be really good and you're this bad, you can't explain it. You know what this is? This is you going out with a girl. You're going out a month. Everything is great. There's not an ex-boyfriend in the picture that happens to come back. Everything's great. And then she tells you, I don't think it's working out. What do you mean? I woke up this morning. That's what this is. You can't explain it. You cannot explain how, first of all, do I believe in luck? No. Luck is the other side of the coin. Fate is one side. Luck is the other. Whether you hand someone a quarter with the head side up or the tail side up, it's still worth the quarter. The guy's still going to take it if you're buying something. Fate and luck, you make your own luck. Very rich people, unless you were left a lot of money, you say, wow, it's amazing how lucky they are. Yeah, they're lucky because they went to college when everyone was partying. They were studying for their finals. They worked their ass off, and they worked 90 hours a week as a stockbroker, and they become a vice president. They weren't waiting to run out at 5 o'clock to go for cocktails. They waited till 9. Those people, it's amazing how lucky hard workers are. The Mets play bad baseball, and it appears to be unlucky because they'll lose by a run. They won't get the sacrifice. They won't get the sac fly. The other team will and win the game. Doesn't mean they're unlucky. They didn't get it in. Right? You're supposed to knock the run in. A runner on first, you're supposed to score 33% of the time with no out. Joe, the only thing I can tell you, and I'm a guy that used to have to go to the West Coast quite a bit. The Mets had an afternoon game Thursday. They probably got into California midnight, which was 9 o'clock in there, so they're going to get a bite to eat. You're hopped up. It doesn't hit you the first day. This is the day. The second day is when uh, the jet lag hits you. And I think it hit Soto. Soto looked terrible tonight. I think tomorrow they certainly will be more refreshed. Do I think they'll win tomorrow? Look, it seems to me that I don't think it's this team is top 5 swing and miss team. Holmes has swing and miss stuff. He gets a lot of swing and misses, Holmes. Kokonowitz is good. He's been pretty good this year. Almost got the same stats as Holmes, really. Well, he's got a 309 ERA, 35 innings. Got a 1-2 whip. The problem with him, the Angel pitcher walks about 4.5 per nine. Holmes this year is doing very well. He's walking like 2 per nine, 3 per nine. I think the Mets have a solid shot to win tomorrow's game. I do. I would think they would win tomorrow. No, I know. You could bet your ass if that was Francona, AJ Hinch, they would, because coaches are told to look at that play. Now, that's on the home plate. The home plate umpire makes that call, and I think he missed it. Yeah, Larry, McLean's not. McLean, honestly, his stuff impresses me. His demeanor right now doesn't. You can tell now that he's a guy that's only pitched 15 games in the major leagues. McLean doesn't know how to put an inning away. McLean could put hitters away. He doesn't know how to put an inning away. Because how many times have you seen him strike out, bloop hitter a walk, another hit, another 12 pitches in that inning? That happens a lot with McLean. An extra 12 pitches in one inning and another, that's 2 innings. You could have gone. You could have gone into the 7th, 6 2/3. So that's the problem with McLean. McLean is learning how to pitch. McLean doesn't realize McLean was throwing 60% fastballs innings 1 through 3. From 4 and 5 and 6, he's gone down to 45% fastballs. There's no reason for him to go down. I guess he's trying to last longer into games, so he feels if he doesn't blow out the fastballs, throws more off speeds, maybe a little more to contact. No, when you have a fastball like yours, lead with the fastball. If they haven't hit it for 3 or 4 innings, why are you changing? Why are you changing? Yeah, he nibbles. Well, Peralta nibbles. That's why Peralta is 5 and out. Peralta's wild in the strike zone. Earl Weaver, yeah. Earl Weaver was great. I remember once Earl Weaver goes up to the umpire. Team was in a losing streak. And he goes, come on, throw me out. He goes, say the magic word. He goes, no, I don't want to say it. You're too nice. Come on. And like, he started getting mad because he wouldn't throw him out. And he says, fuck you, you're out. You say that word, you're out. Yeah, he's learning, Ray. Yeah, this is 15 games into his career, 14 games. He'll learn to be a little more economical. He'll know what's working. It doesn't really matter what umpires call now because they're graded so strictly and you have ABS. So if an umpire blatantly misses a call, you're going to get it overturned anyway. So you have to be smart with your challenges. Mary, to me, every bad team goes 7-3 at some point during the year. Look at the A's. Look at Minnesota. They're coming back to their mean now. There will be a stretch where the Mets will go 8-2. You just got to hope it's not in July when you're 20 out. The Mets need to go 8-2 in the next 2 series. You know what I mean? If you can go into Memorial Day weekend, 4 games under, 5.5, 6 out of the wild card with 5 teams ahead of you. The division, you're going to be 10 out at that point, 9 out. Atlanta's for real. Atlanta's going to win 98 games. Then you start picking up a game or two, a game every 2 weeks, two games a month. If you pick up 2 games a month in June, July, August, and September, you're 3 or 4 over. So you're 83 and 79. You're going to need 87 for the wild card or 88. So in that stretch, you're going to have to go 5-1. They've had 3 West Coast trips. Hey, Wolves. How are you? Wolves Baseball 9. I love it. No, at this rate, won't lose 100. If I had to give you a record right now, and I used to have a betting site. I'm a pretty good mathematician. I would say right now, if I had to make a record for the Mets, it would be 79 and 83. It would be 79 and 83 if the Mets don't trade Peralta, Bichette, or Brazaban, Williams. If they do, they'll be 72 and 90. Gio, they're going to have to go during a 30-game stretch, 20 and 10. Because during a 30-game stretch, if you go 20 and 10, you're probably going to pick up 3 to 4 games on a couple of those wildcard teams. You'll probably be 4 out of the wild card with 3 teams ahead of you, and you have 95 games left. Yeah, so what you have to do, Wolves, is you have to win series. You start by winning series. You win series, you're going to win. You're going to go 4 over for the month. Wolves, because they are better than this. You haven't seen the best out of McLean and Peralta yet. The only reason I think they're disappointing is because they're not going far into games. If you gave me an extra inning and a half for both those pitchers, they're doing very well this year. McLean doesn't go far enough into games for me to tell you he's doing well. Nor does Peralta. That's why Peralta was never considered an ace. To me, an ace, you got to pitch 200 innings. You're not an ace if you don't go 200 innings. Because in game 6 of a playoff series, I need you to go 7, not 5. Especially with a weak bullpen. Because you got to remember, when you're in the playoffs, you're playing, after the first round, you're playing good teams. You're not playing Colorado and Cincinnati, and San Francisco can't hit their way out of a paper bag. You start winning series, and it starts with tomorrow. You came back in this game. Should have won this game, but you came back in this game. If you win tomorrow, you tell me 3-game series, you have Holmes and McLean going. I would think against this team, you'd win those 2 games. So it doesn't matter what order you did it in. If you go 2-1 on the road, West Coast trips are always tough. I don't care how good the team is on the West Coast. It's always it's a tough travel. It's tough. But I think if they win tomorrow, now the Colorado series will show me what this team's made of. I will tell you after the Colorado series if this season is over. I know that sounds ridiculous, but let me explain. They were mortally embarrassed by Colorado. Colorado was putting memes up, Empire State Building in Rocky colors. What comes in a baker dozen, Mets losses. They were, oh, did he really? So he's out 6 to 8 weeks now. That's interesting. He's out. You got to hope if he needs surgery, he's out 3 months. Sometimes they put a pin in it. He'll get an MRI tomorrow, I'm sure. Or they'll wait till he comes back. He'll fly back to New York tomorrow, probably. Let's see. Just looking at the 40 man. I thought if Kimbrel got thrown out, Jonathan Pintaro would come up because he throws hard. Senga's not ready. Tong's not ready. Let's see who I think they would call up. Well, this would have been the guy they sent to for Peralta. He would have got the call up. Right now, interestingly enough, the Mets still. Let me tell you, this is updated today. Okay? Right now, the Marlins are 16-17. Right? Stick with me here. You may feel a little better about things after we get through this. The Marlins are 16-17 and have a. Where did it just go? Let me just look at this, Ray. I was looking for something here. You're going to get a kick out of this because I just looked at this. Imagine being a Met fan. Hey, Jay Bird. I know. It's scary, right? It really is scary, man. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. The playoff odds, as of today, the Marlins have a 13% chance to make the wild card. The Mets still have a 29% chance. I find that very interesting. I think that's very interesting. A 28.7 chance to make the playoffs. Marlins 13%. The Nationals are 15-19 and have a 0.4%. So the Mets still have almost a 30% chance. What, 11 under? I find that very interesting. Which means that projection-wise, statistically, they don't totally count the Mets out of it. Now, Fangraphs is all projected with statistics and analysis. But I find that very interesting. It is brutal, Jay. But the trolls are fine, Ray. They have every right to come in. Thank you for coming in. It is brutal, Jay. It's very, very hard. Being a Met fan, very tough. The only thing I can imagine that, Jay, thank God I'm not a Jet fan. I never really was into football. Can you imagine if I were a Jet fan? I probably wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have been able to do it. No, trolls are always welcome. They have every right to sound off. The starting pitching hasn't been bad. But, no, you're right. Jay, money, it doesn't. If this isn't an example, nothing is. Now, truly, I don't think the Mets, it's too early to say they're out of the wild card. I'll tell you why. Because they had an amazing stretch a few years ago. Bayonet, absolutely. I think that, like I said, we'll know at the 60 game mark. What are we, 32 in? 33 in? Are we 32 in? In the next 28 games, I would take at the 60 game mark, I would take 27 and 33. If we were 6 under at the 60 game mark, we have 102 games left. 11 and 21. Yeah, at the 60 game mark, I'm sure you guys will stay with me every day here. I'm getting used to you. You're like family. 27 and 33 at the 60. I won't be happy with, but they'll still be in the running. If they're 27 and 33, they'll probably have six to seven teams ahead of them in the wild card. They'll probably be about 6 out. Then you have 2/3 of a season, pretty much. And then you got to go your 58 and 42. You come up with your 85 wins, 86 wins, and you hope that that's enough since he got in with 83. No, I agree. Sal, how are you, man? Yeah, well, Soto looked terrible tonight. So, I'll tell you something about out here in this. It didn't look like the Mets were seeing the ball, even to where Vientos was fooled by that line drive. It didn't look like the Mets were picking up the ball at all. I agree, Jay. Jay Bird, the thing is with the Mets, they're a bunch of hired guns. None of them practically knew how to spell last names, didn't know kids' names, wives' names. Not that you have to, but it's like me going to the park and picking 8 guys to play with me. Nah, Bayonet. I will bet you they don't lose 90. They won't lose 90. The worst they would lose is 88. 89, depending if they sell off everyone, then they could lose 95. They have too much talent to lose 100. You got to remember, every single thing has gone wrong for this team. Every single thing has gone wrong for this team. There will be a stretch where they'll go, Bayonet, they are horrible because they don't play together as a team. And I think that's what Cohen feels. I think that Cohen likes Mendoza. I think that Cohen has a little humanity to him. And I think that he felt it wasn't fair for Mendoza to have to hear this everywhere on the radio. Anytime you turn the radio or TV on, that you're going to get fired. It's not fair. Either fire him or just don't let him hang out there. You have to just either you're here or you're not. And I think they gave him, look, you could change your mind. Hey, Kendrick. No, they'll go at some point they'll go 13-7. Even the worst teams in the world. Colorado's a 90. Colorado's going to lose 90 this year. The Twins are going to lose 90 this year. Kansas City was supposed to be great. Look at them. No, because you got to remember, McLean and Peralta are only going to get better. They're not going to get worse. And, Bichette is a lifetime 300 hitter. He's not going to hit 240. Soto, Soto's going to put up numbers at the end. Going to get a few more walks than he generally does. Soto's going to hit 280. He's going to knock in 90, 85, 90 runs this year. No, I know, Ray. They look very tired tonight. But I could see Kendrick, the Mets winning 5 straight, and then losing 2, then going 5-2, and that's 10-4. Even the worst teams, Jay Bird, Mets go 8-2. I will guarantee you, Jay Bird, that there will be a time that the Mets will at least go. No, I have a master's degree in math, Jay. And I calculated it. The Mets will go 8-2 at some point. If they do it in July, they're too far out. It's like going to the emergency room when your leg is all green or your toes turn black. A little too late for that. If you get there when it was just really red, probably not. But I would say that the Mets will have at least one period where you will say, wow, and you'll start looking at the schedule. I'll tell you why. Because every team does that. Even the worst teams in the world. Hey, Pat. Hey, Pack Life. How are you? Thanks for coming in. When Lindor. Oh, the chances of making the playoffs? Well, Fangraphs has it at 28%, not me. But, and Fangraphs, that's very arbitrary. Yeah, because I think they feel that'll just show you that they have no faith in the Marlins. What are the Marlins? 3 games under. The Mets are 11 under. And the Mets are 28% chance and Marlins 11%. What does that tell you? It tells you that, A, they don't believe the Marlins are as good as they are, and they don't believe the Mets are as bad as they are, which the Mets aren't this bad. They're not this bad. You think the Mets are going to lose 105 games? No. If they sell off, then I could see them losing 93, 94. But, and I'll tell you, we would yell at Stearns if he didn't sell off. If the Mets are 12 out of the wild card and 18 games out of first at the All-Star break, you have to sell off. Because then you traded your 2 best prospects. Well, not best. Sprout's not a great. I don't think Sprout's ever going to be anything more than a number 4 starter. But you pretty much gave away 2 guys for nothing. So you're going to have to flip Peralta. Now, if you remember what they were asking for starting pitching last year, it was astronomical, the price. Look what the Mets gave up to get Rogers. And that's a good reliever, not a closer. Pitching is always very, very fragile. And you'll have teams that are on the cusp of the playoffs that are going to lose a starter to injury. It always happens. And you have a guy like Peralta, not an ace, but starts 32 games a year, sub 4 ERA. And with a good offense, Peralta would be 5-1. right now. We're 4-1. He's pitched well enough. And that's what'll happen. The thing that scares me about Stearns, it seems like Stearns wants to be the smartest guy in the room and does never want to lose a trade. And I'm sure he was offered something. Good night, Joe. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. I don't think he was offered enough for Senga, because I think he was afraid to death that Senga would have a great year and figure it out. He didn't want to be the one to trade Senga away, a guy making $15 million a year that has upside of a number 2. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But you think what you could trade Peralta, and I'll give you their stats right now. Jay Bird, you'll love this. Through 81 games this year, tell me what you think. I'm curious what you think. I'm going to say Bichette's batting 272, 8-43. Does that sound about right? With 17 doubles. I would say that would be Bichette. I would say Peralta. Let's say 6-4, 3.51 ERA. A 3 and 90 innings he's thrown. Do you know what you can get for Peralta? A 3.5 starter when you have a rotation already and you're going to throw him in as your number 3 in a playoff series. And Bichette, who would be on pace for maybe 17 and 90 on a team that doesn't put anybody on. You know what you can get for those two guys? I would think that the Mets would have to kick money in there, because Bichette, if he picks up the option, is $40 million. So you're going to have to send some money that way too, in case he sticks with the team. They got to pay him $40 million. So I would think that you could definitely flip Peralta. Anybody will take a lefty starter that's healthy. He's always healthy. So I would think that Peralta would be the guy you flip. And then Bichette you would flip. And you'd bring up Ewing. And your outfield would be Soto, Ewing, and Benj. You'd bring up Clifford. He'd be your first baseman. And you'd bring up Wettinger. You Morabito. You'll bring up some guys. And Stearns will get what he wanted. 2 years ago, Stearns wanted to rebuild. He couldn't. That's why Stearns didn't sign anybody. He signed tier 2 guys. Holmes, Senga, Manaea, I'm sorry. Because he never thought they were going to be that good. And then when they almost go to the World Series, you can't rebuild. They would have ran him out of town. And last year, they were what they were. So I'm telling you, and I believe this totally, I don't think, Jay Bird, I'm very curious what you think of this. I don't think Stearns is that upset about this. Because I don't think Stearns gives a shit what people think about him. I think Cohen probably does more than Stearns. And I think Stearns would love to rebuild. I think he'd love to flip Peralta, saying, Freddie, we could sign you in the offseason. Well, let's get better. So if you come back here, we got a shot next year. He'll flip Bichette. He doesn't want to pay Bichette $40 million. And you'll probably get 4 decent young players for those guys. If you look at the trade deadline last year, Let's see something here. Let's see here. Okay. I'm doing this for a reason, people. I'm looking for something comparable. Merrill Kelly, who isn't a pimple on Peralta's ass, got traded for Cole Drake, David Hageman, and Mitch Bratt. And one of those guys is the number 4 guy in the Rangers organization. The Mets had to give up Jesus Baez, Nate Dom, and Frank Ellisalt for Ryan Helsley. Baez and Dom were both ranked in the top 30 Mets prospects. Baez at number 8, Dom at number 14. Shane Bieber got traded for Carl Steffen. Steffen was Toronto's number 5 prospect. And Peralta is better than Shane Bieber. Josh Naylor, first baseman. They got a number 13 and a number 16 in the Mariners pipeline in Diamondbacks. Dustin May, okay, I'm looking for a guy that is close. Harrison Bader was having a really good year. They got the number 12 prospect. What do you think Bichette would get you? Bichette would get you. Now, it all depends. The team you're trading, if a guy gets hurt. Yeah, Kendrick. Yeah, Stearns wanted to rebuild all along. I have to tell you something. I don't think Stearns wants to lose, but I think Stearns knows that's the only way to rebuild the team. That's why he traded Scherzer and Verlander. I think when he sits with Cohen and he says, Steve, you were getting the casino. I tried to put a competitive team on the field. We totally overpaid for Bichette because we lost out on Tucker. So we overpaid him by about $8 million. Bichette should be getting $32 million a year. It didn't work out. We brought in a solid defensive second baseman to change the culture. He's a great guy. Got old fast in Simeon. Polanco's hobbled. Our doctors looked at the medical records, thought he'd get better. He didn't. Peralta was what Peralta is. McLean is progressing. He's still young. Carson Bench had to learn on the fly. And he gives you a decent at bat. He's not striking out every time he's up. We have a strike looming. We don't know what the cap is going to be. So let me get rid of some of these guys and we can reset. So you trade Peralta, and Steve, if you really love Peralta like I do, we'll just sign him. We'll sit down and tell him, look, we're going nowhere. We'll send you to a team that has a shot, and we totally want you back next year. Bichette, you do the same thing. Peralta and Bichette will be two of the top 10 guys on the trade market. Peralta probably, if you're not trading the Milwaukee pitcher, and Skeens isn't getting traded, Peralta will probably be the best pitcher on the market come the trade deadline. Think of no one's going to open up the bank for Detroit, the pitcher. So Peralta will probably be the number one pitcher available during the trade deadline, or at the very least, the second. You get a lot for that. You're going to have a lot of teams knocking on the door that are one starter short from maybe winning it all. And Peralta, he's a legitimate number two. And if you have a decent pitching staff, you put him 3. And you only have to pay him for this year. There are desperate teams that will give up, even though, I don't have him for next year to try to win this year. Bichette, a middle of the lineup guy who's a 290 hitter, who has vast experience and is a playoff performer. And before this year is a lifetime, like 340 hitter with runners in scoring position. A clutch player who now can play third base serviceably because you've seen him play for 75 or 80 games come the deadline. And he's been more than acceptable at third base. And if you had to move them to short, God forbid, you could do that too. So now he plays 2 positions. 2 big positions. What do you think you can get for that guy? Then the Mets will probably have to kick a little money in because he's making a lot of money. But since when did Cohen worry about money? He gave him $42 million. Maybe you kick $10 million in to get a better prospect. Brazoban is having a great year. Look what you gave up for Taylor Rogers, who's not overpowering. If Brazoban is a 280 RA come the All-Star break, what do you think you can get for him? Teams always need relief pitching. Always need relief pitching. You look at it this way, it wouldn't be so terrible. Because what Stearns says to Cohen is you wanted prolonged success. You want to be sustainable every year, be a playoff team. Well, I'm probably going to get you 4 or 5 top pipeline guys that are 22 years of age that set us up with Benj and with Morabito and with Ewing. We will have all of a sudden a team that's 24 years of age. Clifford. An ace that's 25 in McLean. Wettinger, who's 22 or 23. Tong, who's 22 or 23. All of a sudden, Cohen says, well, do what you got to do. This was hiring a bunch of mercenaries. They didn't know each other. They don't play well together. This isn't a warm and fuzzy team. The best player on the field leaves the locker room and goes home to his kids in Soto. Doesn't want to hang out with anybody. That's up to him. When you're that good, you could be that way. I think Stearns would unload Lindor in a flash if he could. I think he'd trade him tomorrow for Bryce Harper. Money for money. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. And Harper would play first base for the next 3 years. I think he would. Mauricio, to me now, Mauricio's going to be gone 2 months now. So he's not even in the discussion. I don't think he should ever bat righty. He's terrible. So what do? They have had legitimate injuries. And it comes a time when you just have to say it's not your year. I know it seems like we have to say that every year with the Mets because we do, but we look for the future. Probably going to be a strike next year. Might be miss half the season with a strike next year. So the Met players, the young guys, will be playing in the minor leagues, and they'll be getting more seasoned. They're not going to miss out on time developing. So we'll see what happens. This is a very, very disappointing loss because I thought they'd win this game when they came back. I thought they'd lose it until they came back and tied it. And with Bichette up, I thought for sure that they'd at least score a run. Bichette and Soto, you couldn't draw it up any better. That's who you want up. And, Bichette continues to hit the ball hard. I don't think he's been very lucky this year. He's also had some terrible at-bats. And Soto looked like he went through the motions tonight. I hope the team's not just getting him to the point where he just doesn't give a shit. I wouldn't think so because he's too competitive. But I think there'll come a time that he tries to do too much and starts swinging out of his shoes and starts swinging at balls that he would have taken because no one else is driving in runs. And you don't want him to get into bad habits. So it's a shit show. So I think if McLean develops, hopefully by the All-Star break, you'll bring Jonah Tong up. He'll have 10 starts under his belt in the minors or 12 starts. Wettinger has been good. He needs to find some control. He walks too many guys. And we'll see what happens. But they have a couple of young, exciting position players. I do think that once Clifford's brought up, Clifford's not brought up here to platoon. He'll play every day. He will be your first baseman. He even plays outfield a little, but he'll be your first baseman. The Vientos experiment has to end. Vientos can't play first base. And I don't think Beatty's ever going to be a good first baseman either, which surprises me because I thought Beatty was a good enough that Beatty made himself a decent third baseman. He was terrible. And he played second base okay. I thought he'd be able to transition to first. That just shows you first base isn't as easy as you think, right? Well, we'll see what happens. And Polanco's another guy. If he gets healthy and hits to the All-Star break, you could flip him too. You're probably going to have to kick in money with these guys. You're going to have to pay some of the salary down. But there's hope. The hope might be for next year and years beyond, but there's hope. I just don't know what we do this year, the rest of the year, because it's going to be rough. But have no fear, because even depressed or not, I will be here every post game. Whether I'm on vacation, I will always bring the iPad to be with you guys. And I hope you continue to join in. I don't mind trolls. They have every right to say, as long as they're respectful. Every right. And Jay Bird's cool. I agree, Joe. Joe, do you want to come on and say hello? You still shy? I'll drop the link. Come in. Come say hi. Yeah, Peterson is, and I could see Peterson totally going somewhere else and being successful. I could see that. I could see Peterson being Sonny Gray. I could see Peterson going to a smaller market and pitching very well. Sometimes it doesn't work out your first stop sometimes. Sometimes you need a second stop or a third stop. Look, Mike Scott, back in the 80s, wasn't good with the Mets because he started scuffing the ball. It was great with Houston when I saw Young Award. Darno left the Mets and was an all-star with Atlanta. Harrison Bader left the Mets, was amazing for Philly. Justin Turner left the Mets, all-star with the Dodgers. Sometimes guys just aren't going to be. Heath Bell, remember him? Became an all-star closer, 45 saves or 50 saves in San Diego. Sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. And you have to cut the ties knowing you're going to be burnt, and you're going to have to see them in the division, and you're going to have to play them, and they're going to destroy you. But they're not going to be good for you. So you might as well get something back. Vientos, there's no doubt in my mind, if Vientos went to Oakland, right now, tomorrow, he'd finish the season with 30 homers. Probably hit 235, but 30 homers. No doubt in my mind, especially playing in Sacramento where they play now, he might hit 35. A young, exciting lineup. He's in a better place. He knows he's going to be in a lineup every day. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder. No doubt in my mind, if Peterson went to San Diego, he'd be very serviceable. I don't think he'd be an ace, but I don't think he'd be getting knocked out in the second inning. Devin Williams, I think, if he went to Pittsburgh. I think if Beatty went to Pittsburgh. Sometimes your first stop is just a stop. It's a connecting flight to where you want to go. It's the plane going to Vegas that stops in Chicago. You're there for a while, you go to Vegas, and that's when you start having fun. The vacation starts. And that's what I think happens with a lot of ball players, especially from the Mets, it seems. This is their first stop, and they end up being good somewhere. Now, if they end up being good somewhere, you can't totally blame it on Met development. You can blame it on Met development if the guys never get good. But when guys like Justin Turner are just given a chance to play every day and get good, sometimes it's, you're looking over your shoulder in New York and you don't think, Vientos must be hard knowing he's going to be benched all the time, and very hard to play like that. And that's why I think I think they wanted to take the onus off of all these talk shows saying, is today the day he gets fired? Is today the day he gets fired? That's what I think they wanted to end, because that's a distraction for the team as well. It puts a lot of pressure on you because you feel you're getting the manager fired. I think if everyone feels, and it looked like they relaxed yesterday, that, Devin Williams was the best he's been in 2 years yesterday. It looked like for a second they kind of relaxed. Now, could this be the jet lag day, the second day maybe? Soto looked like he was going through the motions tonight. They just looked lifeless tonight. And they still tied the game up against a bad Angel team, against a guy that was mowing them down. This is a number 4 or 5 starter. He's pitching like a number 2 this year, but Mets couldn't hit him for anything. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow. What time's the game? 4, so figure about 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I hope you come in. Even you, Jay Bird. Come in. We'll talk. Because Beatty had a really good second half last year. And it's because of that first year that Vientos had and that playoff against Philly. That's what got Vientos the job. It seems like it that he put him in a position to fail. It does seem like it. I don't think Stearns knew what to do. He improved defensively, Gio. But I think that, there comes a point when the Mets have to realize, look, you have to cut bait with these guys. They're never going to be any good here. Even if they end up being good somewhere else, they're not going to be good for you. So why waste your time? They do have some interesting young guys that are going to come up. Ewing will be up probably by Memorial Day. That's your center fielder. They'll move Benj to right, and Soto will continue in left. So I would think by Memorial Day weekend, you'll have A.J. Ewing in center, Benj in right, Soto in left. By July, I think you'll have Clifford at first base platooning until he's ready. And we'll see what happens. Gio, I think things will get better. I can't imagine them staying like this. This team's not a 110 win loss team here. Like I said, you got to hope they go on a heater, not at the end of July. Gio, by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think anybody would have thought that Minnesota was going to be any good the first month of the season. Colorado lost 118 games. No one thought they would be 500. You can't tell me that a team like Colorado, who everyone picked to lose 100 games, that the Mets aren't capable of going 15-5. Because I've seen it happen with the Mets. I've seen the Mets go 30-14. And this division stinks. Atlanta's going to run away with this division. Philly's going to sell off. It's the only thing you got to hope that they don't sell Wheeler before you sell Peralta. They have to show it, Gio. I think that once Lindor's not going to be back until June. So you're going to have to make a move without him. You can't wait, when he gets back, we'll be better. He's not coming back for 35 games. So you have to just hope that the Mets get hot within the next month. If the Mets in the next 6 weeks can go 14-6 and be 3 games under or 4 games under with 100 to go, 110 to go, then we're still talking about, it's a shame we got off to this start. But, when they're 3 out of the wild card with 4 teams ahead of them and 100 games left, and Bichette's starting to hit and Soto's starting to hit, and then you have Lindor coming back in a month and Benj is figuring it out, then you wonder. You can at least start having some fun with the thinking process. But for now, it's just another loss. I will see you guys tomorrow after the Met game. Hopefully, it will be a happy recap. Thank you so much for being up with me tonight. I hope you have a rest of your morning is great. Be healthy, be safe, and I will see you later on. Take care, everybody.